Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind Podcast, episode 223. Today we are talking parents and property development. Can you really do both? And we're going to say, of course you can, but we're going to talk about ways that will make it easier so you'll understand how you can. So let's jump on into episode 223. Hello and welcome to episode 223. For those who are new, please hit subscribe. Leave a comment, say, hi, I'm Hilary Saxon, this is Bob Anderson, and we are property developers. I don't think we've actually gone through what we do for the people that join us new. If you are listening new today, we teach property development and we do property development, and we do a lot of property development. So, Bob, welcome.
Thanks, Hilary.
And it's so weird because
it's funny.
Yes, when we do that, because we've had a wee chat, we always do two takes. We start take one and then we go, oh, we got to go again because I mess it up every time. But anyway, I don't know why. It's just, I think, a little habit that I have. Bob, what's your tip for the week before we get into property development?
Oh, well, after yesterday's dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember we went to the boat a week ago, carried all our stuff down to the boat, hit the start, nothing, flat battery. Took it home, charged it up. Shouldn't have gone flat. Went back yesterday, took the fishing gear, but took everything back, put in, because I'd left the battery in the boat but turned off for a week, so expecting it to be fine, flat battery again. Clearly there's an issue there, a dead short. There's something going on. The isolator switch doesn't work. I guess the thing is, if there is a problem, just get on with it straight away and fix it. I was sort of hoping there wasn't a problem and it'd go away, and now having happened the second time, I realised, well, there really was a problem and I was just hoping it'd go away. Problems don't go away because you hope they go away.
Oh, now, like the story, I get the story because, oh my goodness, how many times have we been fishing? This has been a little bit of an ongoing thing. And when you say brought the battery home, it's not that easy. Those batteries are so heavy. We've got to have a trolley and then we've got to charge it and then we have to take it back, all that business. But that isn't the first time. And then we thought we'd actually had it fixed and it's not fixed. And so what was the last word you said? What was your last lesson?
Well, I said when you've got a problem, don't think it's just going to fix itself.
Oh my God, that's the lesson. This isn't even about the fishing. When you've got a problem, do not think it is going to fix itself. I think I'm going to do my podcast on that this week, which I have actually dropped the ball on for those that follow both. I haven't been able to do one for 3 weeks. Life has been somewhat crazy. But anyway, back on this week. And I think that's it. That is so true. When there's a problem, it's like you can't put your head in the sand and pretend it's not there because it is there. Love it. Love that, Bob. There's quite a bit of that, not sort of that in this week's podcast, but we are talking about parenting and property development and can you do them both? And seriously, the answer is yes. So if you just wanted a yes or no, go now. It was yes. But we're going to talk about the issues that arise and how people can overcome those and make sure that they do get to their end goal, that it does happen for them. So, Bob, I'm going to start with a question that is really easy for you, because I'm being nice this morning. Because recording
as opposed to any other morning. Hey, what are you on about?
Well, I am always nice.
Yeah, I know.
But the question I am going to say to you, Bob, what is the benefit for a family when a parent does do property developing?
Well, I guess there's several we could unpack, but an obvious one to me is finance, in that if somebody's doing property development and doing it properly, I always make that caveat, doing it properly, doing it well, you're going to make a lot of money. So how does that help a child? Well, it depends how you use it. I mean, money's a tool. So how are you going to use it? You're going to spoil them rotten with all that money? Well, hope not, in which case that's your fault, not money's fault. But I think just having that money, like for life's enjoyments, for lifestyle, what's it mean if you've got money and you've got kids? Well, it means you can go on some lovely holidays.
I mean, even bring it back from that, Bob, because we hear constantly on the news these days, the crisis, the cost of living and stuff. And there is a lot going on out there. But we don't even have to think nice holidays. Simple things like being able to go to the movies. It doesn't have to be big. It's just having that extra money to do those extra things that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
Buying decent food and having lovely meals at home. And families that live on the breadline that need to make a change, they aren't living like that.
No, there's plenty of people that aren't. And money can make a big difference. Not money for money's sake, but it's a great tool. And something simple like movies or a weekend away, holiday, lots of things. And because that's got nothing to do with how you bring your kids up and how you educate them about money. That's a totally different subject. But just having it and using it properly as a really good tool. And I mean, what can you do with money? You can do lots of things. You could do some charity. I mean, you could teach your kids about helping others. There's as much as you want to think about.
Yeah. So that's financial. That's one of the benefits of doing property development. You just have a different lifestyle. What are other benefits that you know to be true when it comes to property developing and what it does for your family as a parent?
Well, I guess there's two things to look at here. One is while you're becoming a property developer, and the other thing is once you are. So what I mean by that is most people that start off property development have a day job, majority, and that's a good thing. And at some point, they'll trade their day job in. So it's nothing unusual for people to do a project or even two projects while they have a day job. But I always say your day job will lose its appeal, in due course, because what you'll be doing is you'll be making a lot more money than you do out of your day job with a lot less time. And then that's what I mean, the 40-hour week, if there is such a thing, the 50-hour week, whatever it is you're doing, will lose its appeal because you could be making twice that or three times that in way less hours, So that means time. So, but it takes a while to get there. So I guess what we're talking about today is two areas. One, while you have a family and before you make that transition.
One's the journey itself.
Yeah, and that transition could be at the end of your first project or your second or whatever you do. The other thing is after you become what do I call a full-time property developer? And what I mean by that is if you're a full-time property developer, I don't mean 40-hour week property developer. I mean it's your principal income is property development. And that might mean if you're doing one project, it might mean 4 or 5 hours a week. So if somebody's working 40 hours a week as a property developer, they're doing quite a number of projects. But it takes a while to get there, usually. And so I guess what about before you become a full-time property developer? Once you do, you'll certainly have money and you'll have time. Until then, if you're doing a development and do it while you have a day job, you'll get the money plus your day job money. But it's probably a bit harder to juggle them because you've got a day job and you're doing property development. That's probably the trickier part. Not after you've become a full-time property developer, it becomes a lot easier. You're looking for things to do.
That's like everything though, Bob. Nothing worth having is super easy. Something's going to take work. There is no such thing as an overnight success. And I've done a whole podcast on that myself because there isn't. Nobody said the hard yards that go in beforehand. We're not saying it's super hard because there's so many people do it. We're just saying that it doesn't just roll out in front of you. You've got to put that effort in. And if you're juggling a job and transitioning over and children, then there'll be some trade-offs. And that's really what we want to unpack today, a lot of the trade-offs and the benefits and how to do well. Because you can do it well. It doesn't necessarily have to be seen as, I can't do that, or I'm being a bad parent because I'm not doing that. There are plenty of fabulous parents transitioning into property development, doing property development. They've gone all the way over. And there are plenty of great parents that aren't doing it. There are also lots of bad parents who aren't property developing and they're doing a rubbish job. You only have to watch the news. You can't tell me their parents are property developers. The crime and stuff, I would almost guarantee. So, Bob, let's talk about why do parents doubt they can do both? Why do they put it off and wait until? What's your thoughts on that? Just an FYI, I'm throwing Bob in the deep end on this.
Well, I mean, one of them is they might think, I don't have the time. I have a very busy life. I'm busy at work. I'm busy at home. I'm running kids around like a taxi driver on weekends. When am I ever going to do it? And they could doubt, not necessarily their ability to do it, but will they have the time to do it? And they haven't thought it through. Well, if I need to? How can I create more time? How can I find time? I mean, that's the next step. But I think we're talking about the doubt part of it. I think one could be that. Another could be that they say, I just don't have enough money, without fully understanding how you finance property developments and how you can use joint ventures to finance property development. So they don't understand that. So they think, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough knowledge.
And I don't have the time to learn.
Yeah. And so all of these, they're excuses. That's what they're really excuses. To me, they're not obstacles. There's not that many obstacles in life. Most of them are surmountable if you're willing to put in the effort. So, yeah, I think probably they're certainly common things. Time, money, time to learn. Where am I going to learn? How am I going to learn? Fear of failure. The easiest thing you'll ever do is say no to something. How quick's that? No. There you go. Half a second. Now I don't know how long it takes to say no, but that game over. Do you want to be a property developer? No. No, that's the end of that.
How could you not want to be a property developer?
I don't know. For us, it's just like
normal,
a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Let's have a look at some. Well, first of all, I want to give a story, and I'm going to use different names because these people don't want me to use their names. I think I may have in the past, but anyway, I'm not going to use it for today's story. We're going to call them Wendy and Dave. And they were busy, mum and dad working full-time, child. And as I say this, I think of another couple as well with 2 children. So this is an isolated story. We have plenty. And this is people with younger children. So they didn't have caregivers around them. A lot of people have mum and dad to lean on. And we know that. You've got grandkids that lean into the grandparents a lot. And that's just normal. That's very normal. And they're very lucky to be able to, hey, Nana, hey, granddad, can you look after kids? But I remember this couple, they didn't have that support, and they were trying to find a site, and they needed to do their due diligence, the live version of the due diligence, go to the open homes and have the conversations with the agents and do all those sorts of things. And they just said to me, hello, we just can't do it. We just don't know how we're going to do it. And I just said, well, you have to. And I said, hey, great coaching question. How could you do it? Throw it back to them so they give me the answer. That's actually how you coach properly, because people know their own answers, and we always give people advice that don't take it. People like to come up with their own answers. That's a massive coaching tip for people who want to understand how coaching works. So their answer, and I think I was talking to mum at the time, she said, I suppose we could hire a babysitter for a Saturday morning and go and do it, because this child that they had was quite an active one and they couldn't take her with them. And so they did that, and just not even joking, they did it once only. They were so lucky. They did it once, got the information, but they got a site within a week. That was nothing to do with, well, I suppose it is. They were lining their ducks up, and you make yourself lucky by taking the actions, but they got a site within a week. So they didn't even have to do it more than once. They paid one babysitter for 4 hours, I think they took. They probably had a really nice time because they weren't working and they were spending some time together, and they ended up with a site. And they made an awful lot of money on that project, which is now completed and gone to sale, and they're on I think number 2 or 3 now. So that, to me, is just a fabulous example of somebody just choosing to prioritise something, which is really a road we're going to go down today. We're going to talk about how to leverage your time better, the choices that you make, and how you reframe things instead of seeing it as, oh my gosh, I work all week and I'm going to put my child into care on a Saturday for 4 hours. Just thinking, I'm going to put my child into a babysitting situation or drop it at Auntie Mary's or whoever's house, I shouldn't say it, drop the child, drop the baby, whatever. But if you can't take your children with you, you have more than one. When you think of the big picture, this isn't going to last forever, and people get caught up in now and don't see the big picture or the season. This is a season, and this season might only take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It won't take forever. Do you remember going through that phase, Bob?
Yeah, well, when I started in property development, I didn't have kids. So
of course. You had kids on the way.
Married. Yes. I was married with no kids.
Yes.
There's that period of time between getting married and having your first kids.
Yes.
That's when I started. But I was only sort of in it a couple of years when I started having kids.
Yes, but you're already established by then, so you had your procedures and processes, and you had strategies. It's different for somebody starting.
Yeah, starting my 3rd project.
Right.
At the time I had kids.
Yep.
And by that time I was doing it full time. When I say full time, I was doing like 2 projects. I was probably working 10 hours a week, which is pretty handy when you just after you had kids. But yes, I never had to do that. But that example you gave, I mean, that was great that they found a site so quickly. But it wouldn't have mattered whether it was 2 weekends or 5 weekends. That would have enabled them to still get that site and kick off with.
And I also liken it to when people have to find the time to watch, like our online course, for example, like learn. You've got to put that time in to understand. Otherwise, you're just playing blind man bluff and you're floundering around trying to find something, but you don't know what it is you're looking for. And that's a massive tip. You have to know what you're looking for, and that saves time. When people try and cut corners all the time and they try, if I could save money if I don't do a course or I don't do that, and I'll try and find out online, you probably quadruple the amount of time it's going to take by thinking you can do it on your own and bumble your way through and Google and use AI and all. There are tools you can use, but it will take so much longer, and you can't be 100% sure that the answer you have is 100%.
Probably cost you $100,000 too, just in even lost profits, just even bumbling through and trying to the old trial and error. Not a good way of doing it.
Yes, at least. So committing to that time. And I remember when we were talking about Wendy and Dave, not their real name, but they would wait until they put their wee little lass into bed, and then they would just spend 20 minutes because they were tired. And I get that. When you're juggling more than one thing and you get tired and you think, okay, we're just going to do a short amount of time, instead of making yourself stay awake with matchsticks in your eyes, trying to, consume as much as possible that isn't going in. They were really smart about it, I believe, just those little chunks. It doesn't take long to get through all the information, and watch it again. The second time you'll remember it. Even watch it twice in a row, once tonight, the same one tomorrow night, see if it cements in.
Yeah, and that at least is your own time. Like in terms of going to, say, open houses, well, you just got to fit in with when they're open, which is often on a Saturday, Saturday morning till mid-afternoon, really. So you're fitting in with other people's times. As far as study goes, it's your time. When you're going to do it, are you going to do it of an evening, of a morning? And get up an hour early. I mean, how hard's that?
I don't know, Bob. How hard is getting up an hour earlier? I'm the early riser in our house.
Yeah, but you can if you have to.
Oh, for sure.
I've had jobs 100 years ago when I had to get up, 2 a.m. and go and do stuff. So, but at least it's your time. And if you find you're a bit burnt out and tired at the end of the day to hop on online platforms or do a bit of study, then get up an hour early while you're fresh. Make the hour. You can do a lot in an hour early up in the morning because people aren't around. I won't say annoying you, but talking to you. The phone's not ringing, and that's really productive time.
Unless your family's in a country 3 hours before you, then so if mine see me online, my daughter straight on, I'll get a text if I get up early. So I'm pretty careful if I want to get up and do some work. But I agree. I juggle a lot of things alongside of property development, and that's the morning time that I get that stuff done. By the time evening comes, my brain's a little bit fried. I've talked to a lot of people, and by the time I, cut the veggies and have a glass of wine, day's over. So, Bob, what about last week we talked about FIFO, and let's compare FIFO with the time away there versus the time away with property development. How do you see that as being any different?
Well, it's not comparable.
No.
It's more so if one of the parents is away on FIFO, because in some cases both parents work in the mines and the kids go with them, but then they're still working all day. And we talked in the previous one about people working FIFO. We've got plenty of examples of people in our mentoring program that were doing developments while they were flying in, flying out. But in terms of time as a property developer, well, yeah, there's certainly a few hours a week that you have to find while you've got the day job. But the prize is incredible because if you finish the day job and just do property development, then you've just got so much time.
So I want to unpack the time thing because it's probably my favourite topic because it's my favourite excuse.
You can't buy it.
No, you can't. There's only 168 hours in a week. But let's look at time and things that people can do, that you can do, listening to this now, that you can do to find a little bit of extra time, because we're also going to look at guilt. Because that comes from feeling like we're not spending enough time with our family. So ways to find time. One, we get up earlier, and that's one we all use, I believe. It's a no-brainer. But another one is protecting your time. How many people steal your time? In some ways, it could be a bit of sabotage, and not just from them, self-sabotage from you. You allow people to take your time, so you can say you don't have enough time, and when you don't have enough time, you haven't failed because it's not your fault. So we can get. Why are you smirking at me? You're thinking, Hilary, that's you?
No. It's just interesting how human beings justify stuff.
Oh, for sure. We justify everything. I'm going to go off on a tangent now, but when I look at having a conversation with somebody and it's going to be a conflicting one, or sometimes you have to deal with something, I always step into their shoes and look through the lens that they will be seeing. So if you're listening to this today and you're thinking, well, that's not true, we're just too busy, I can't do it, that is your lens that you are seeing it through. So strategies to overcome things like that are: one, be careful of your time. No is an okay word. You proved it before. You can say no, not right now. I've got some other priorities. You don't have to say, I don't have time, because I think sometimes we get caught in that, woe is me, I don't have any time thing. And crikey, I'm like the world's worst offender. I felt like last week I didn't even have enough time to breathe. But I think if we just say, I have to prioritize this, and just like you mentioned before, that it's not forever. There's just that short amount, that season that this is going to happen for, like our friends Wendy and Dave, that they prioritized, and how lucky were they? And what do you always say about luck, Bob?
What do I always say? I got lots of things about luck. What in terms of making your own luck?
Yeah.
Well, there is good luck and there is bad luck. You know, you win lotto, that's good luck. You didn't do anything clever to win it, but like the chances of 1 in 134 million or something. So a lot of the time you so-called mate luck. People say, "Oh, aren't you lucky?" or, but it's not luck. So often it's not luck. It's just the results of hard work.
Mm. And another thing we can do is be strategic and not stretched. Strategic means, like I said, you've got something else that you need to do, but also what doesn't need to be done. What are the things that you're actually doing in your life right now that don't really need to be done or could be outsourced? What could you outsource that somebody else could do? Could somebody do the cleaning? Could you ask your partner to take on another role? Could you get one of the kids to do something? Who was it last week? I think it might be your grandkids, Bob. They were talking about wee Billy's got a lot of money and he's 7. That's right. Billy's just hilarious. But I was like, how do you get all your money, Bill? And he has jobs to do. And every job that he does, they're only little, it's like make your bed, do the small things like this, and he saves his money. And in fact, my grandson 4, Charlie, he got a new trampoline, and they made the kids save for it. They made him, because his brother's only 1. I thought that was a bit rough, but he has to put his lunchbox on the bench, and he has all these when he finishes his breakfast, he's got to rinse the plate and put it in the dishwasher. All these wee things that, as a parent, all those little things accumulate. They accumulate over time, and they do give you some time back, but they also teach responsibility. So what can you outsource to the people that are already around you? Or do you need to pay somebody to do something, like our friends Wendy and Dave, where they paid for the babysitter, mentoring students, friends now, I suppose. Well, they definitely are. So, there are definitely things that people can do to be a bit more strategic, saying no, get some help. What are the other things that can be done?
Well, getting outsourcing and getting help's a big one. That's one I struggled with like years ago. I had that attitude. If you want it done well, you got to do it yourself. And I did eventually get out of that, and particularly probably the last 5 years, because so much stuff is built around the internet and internet marketing, everything else, and like you just almost got to outsource everything in your business these days. But that was a biggie with me.
So you would want to do everything yourself. I mean, you'd get up and you'd want to make sure the house was done, and you drop the kids to the school, and you pick them up, and you did.
Well, I just did way too much. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
did you burn out?
Oh, well, probably did to a fair bit. But I think really being like it's probably not a good word to use, but being a little bit selfish with your time
Yes.
is important.
That's what I said. It's about
I
saying
know,
no.
and
Yeah.
I use the word selfish.
Yeah.
And in some ways you do. Because there are people who just want to consume your time with no real benefit to them or you.
Mm.
And you got to avoid that. But what else have you got in mind? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking there something else that I think is important is we don't have to be perfect. So
thank God.
yeah, exactly. I think when you get a little bit older, you forget, you just don't care so much about perfection. But stop worrying about what other people think. This is you living your life. You do it your way. It's not going to matter if some things aren't done yet for you to get to where you want to go. It's not like you're living in chaos all the time, and you can't live in chaos. It's not ideal for anybody. But for a short amount of time, a wee bit of messy or a wee bit of stuff not done, or we didn't paint the front fence or whatever. None of that stuff actually matters if we're looking at the big picture. And I think when it comes to this sort of thing, when it comes to the time thing, we need to look at big picture. We need to see the picture as this is around what's happening now. It won't be forever. It's a very short amount of time. And then also when you are with your family, have we covered this bit yet?
No.
The biggest one, oh my goodness,
Yep.
is be present. Be with them. Instead of spending a lot of time, spend quality time. You could be with your kids all day staring at TV doing nothing or doing nothing at all. But if you spend that time with them and you are present and you're actually with them, that's vital.
Quality time. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm thinking back we were at I think we went, like something we rarely do, but we did grill. We went and had a grilled burger.
Yes.
And
yep.
There was a lady there with a young girl, daughter, I don't know, how old was she, 6 maybe?
Yep, I'm thinking 6.
About 6 years old. They arrived, sat down at the table, and she pulled the phone out and she was on her phone.
She was just scrolling. She was actually scrolling because she was on the table next to us.
She never said one word to the little girl, and the little girl got up and wandered off.
She had an iPad for a while. Then she got up and wandered off.
I was
like
iPad.
Even looking for her, making sure she was safe.
And she walked out probably 20 metres away at a thoroughfare where there's heaps of people walking back and forth, and she was climbing on, I don't know, some sort of a sculpture or statue. So we just watched that little girl. We could have gotten there pretty quickly if we had to.
Mum never even got up.
Never lifted her face from the phone for 15 minutes. She wouldn't have even known the little girl had put her iPad down and wandered off. So that's a terrible example. One that's dangerous.
But that waste of time of thinking, we went out for dinner together. You didn't go out for dinner together. So spending real time with them rather than just being with them. And I think that when parents learn to do that, when it comes to property development, because they want to fit it into their life, it's so much better. Which kind of brings me to that setting of an intention. When you set an intention, when you're transitioning just in your day, when you transition from dropping the kids at school and walking into the office, when you transition from being at the gym to walking into the home, when you transition from arriving home and walking inside, stop. It's almost like, this is who I am now, and then be present in that role instead of juggling too many roles and being non-present anywhere and being less productive. And if we're talking about property development, you need to be productive. You need to know what you're doing. You need to keep looking to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important.
So, Bob, I really wanted to also talk about, courage over comfort. We need to be courageous. We need to be courageous, don't we? The courage has to come to know that the comfort will come after. So it's really changing that lens that we're looking through. We're wanting something, instead of seeing the bad that you perceive there is, see the good that there really will be.
That's got a bit to do with, and something we hadn't talked about, is the strength of your why. It's what drives you when things are not going your way, or things are tough or frustrating, and when you're impatient. It's the power of the why are you doing it? It's same in anything. If you're not particularly committed on something, you say, I think I'll do this, because I feel like I probably should, and you're probably not going to last at it. But a strong why. And you will make things happen if your why is strong. But you have to be able to see the big picture to know that. What is that? What is that why?
So let's unpack then the other side of that time issue, which is guilt. Us as parents feeling guilty because we're allocating our time somewhere else or we're not dedicating it to our family. And I do believe, again, well, guilt's just such a wasted emotion. It's ridiculous because it's accept or change. You accept it or you change it. You either don't do property development or you do. And it's deciding that I will and it's going to be like this and it's such a short time. And there have been plenty of parents that do it. There have been mums that do it while dad's held down the job. There's been dad that's done it while mum holds down the job. There's been mum as the parent, dad's trying to do both. There is so many examples of all of this and people that are doing property development. But there is that guilt that parents take when they work. And again, I believe that the guilt thing is, apart from being wasted, is you're not seeing the big picture. The big picture for property development is what it's going to do for you. I mean, we all have to work for a living. You can't just sit at home unless you're going to be on welfare. And, what sort of lifestyle, what are you teaching your children? And what sort of lifestyle will you create? But guilt is just wasted.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a terribly wasted emotion. I mean, there's people that get guilty over just working long hours, not spending enough time with the kids because of their job.
Yeah, a great way to rectify something like that is having family rituals. Because a ritual like we have breakfast together every morning, or, on a Saturday morning, we're going to have breakfast at the park, or, mum and I do this, or dad and I do this, or as a family we do this at a certain time. We do movie night on a Friday with popcorn, or just picking things that become rituals, because children do love that. My gosh, it's turning into a bit of a parenting advice podcast. But when you do things like that, then kids do feel special. And so when you do allocate that time to learning and transitioning into property development, that little bit of time you're going to need, it takes that pain away, or that thought of pain, because it's not even a real pain. It's just a thought, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And so much of it's just perception.
The other thing is communicating honestly with your children, telling them about it. And that could be part of the ritual. You could actually tell them what you're doing. When you sit down at maybe a particular night of the week, you say, well, this is what I've done this week, and actually talk to them in a kid way, but tell them what it is that you're doing so they fully understand it. One, you're teaching them how to work hard or work well or be strategic or create the future they want. You're teaching them something, but they're also on part of the journey, so they get some buy-in. And hey, it gives you a chance to sort of talk through what you're doing. Aaron, who works with us in our property developments, he does that amazingly. He's got a 10-year-old actually. 2 days ago, I forgot, 10th of the 10th. And she is all over everything he does.
She's an old 10-year-old.
Oh, she is an old 10-year-old, definitely.
But you're right. And that has a bit to do with the age of the kids. And particularly when they're old enough, whatever that is, and kids mature at different ages, to be able to really see the picture. And we've talked mainly about little kids, but what about, when you're kids moving into teenagehood and that sort of thing? It's a great role model.
Hey, Bob, remember Mark, the mentoring student that we had, and he used to watch the online course on his television, and he used to come on and he sent us a video one day of his little daughter Poppy, and she was going, there's Bob with these. Oh my gosh, it was so cute.
Yeah, that was funny, because we used to catch up with them occasionally, and with little Poppy, and then she'd see me on TV. I was talking to somebody else once who used to watch me on the television, and I can't remember whether she was a single mum or not, but the little daughter said one day, "Mummy, are you in love with Bob?" Because I'd be on TV all the time and she'd be watching,
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
weird.
that story.
Funny.
So, sorry, I think we'll change on that one. So what did you say after that, before I interrupted?
So thinking about teenage children as well, who can understand better what it is, a great role model for parents to be able to show their kids that there's more to just working a hard 40-hour week. That entrepreneurial spirit as well, and being prepared to do all the things, and sometimes sacrificing things.
And think outside of the box, Bob. Think differently. Don't believe that the way we've been brainwashed to be in society is the only way to be. And yeah, exactly. I love that idea.
And we've had, remember, in fact, even maybe our last workshop, on some of our workshops, we've had people in our mentoring program bring their teenage children along.
Oh, totally.
Probably kids a bit older, maybe 16 to 19 maybe.
Yep.
just to show them and get them to understand more what it is that their dad or their mum does, and maybe give them a bit of enlightenment, and maybe, who knows. And this is one of the great things, is that you, as a parent, you can pass down so much to your children, good or bad, and property development, intergenerational, is a great thing. Not just the work ethic and everything that goes with it, but that knowledge that can come from it. And we've seen plenty of examples of parents with not siblings, with children coming into the business.
Yes. How many have I seen join the mentoring program because they want to get their children into houses and they want to get them into their own house, and they just see it as such a big job for the kids. So they get into development so they can sort of make sure each person gets their own house. Doesn't mean they get it for free, and there'll be some, but they're getting it at way cheaper, and just all the benefits and deductions that come from developing your own property, really.
Yeah. You can set your kids up for life, as long as they deserve it, of course.
Yeah.
Through property development.
And you can employ them. We've employed two, one of yours, one of mine, for a while. So, that's given them jobs. And the nice thing about the both of those two, I would say, I can't know in your because it was before I came on board that Luke was here. But for Georgia, it gave her an opportunity to grow, and in a family business, you can grow in a different way because there's no real there's a boss, but it's blurred lines. So you can extend yourself and you can make mistakes, and no one's going to go, oh my gosh. And it was, I think, a great place. Was that the same for Luke? He kind of grew in that role as well.
Yeah. He brought a lot of things to the business I didn't have to, which was good. But yeah, just children. I mean, there's so many benefits down the line. It might be a little bit of a push, initially when you're getting involved in property development, having, find that time, do all the things we talked about. But once you're over that hump, once you're, if you like, taking the profit from your first project is sort of when it all starts.
Yep.
And then from then on, it gets better and better.
And I think we've got to look at the big picture as well. If it is guilt that holds you back because you think you don't have time and you won't spend that time with your kids, guilt just comes from loving them.
Yeah.
But I think if you pop the things in place like we've talked about, be precious with your time. Don't give it to everyone. Allocate pockets. Share the journey with everybody. When you're with the children, be with the children. Put everybody in the same picture. Understand, reframe the way you're looking at it. Don't see it as a negative. See it as a positive. When you look at the picture again, see it as a short time. It's not a whole life versus a whole life of living mediocre or less. It's way worse. So a short-term, what you might perceive as, loss or something, as a long-term game. So I think there's so much more. So when we're talking about property development and parenting, definitely worth doing. You'd do it again. I'd definitely change how I did it. I mean, I started with renovations first, and that was my journey. Just slower. Wish I'd gone developing earlier. Definitely.
Yeah, it's great, and I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it a long time ago, but better sooner than later.
Yes.
And that bonded a lot with my children as well, because once I became a property developer, and that was full time after my first two projects, I never missed a sports day at school. I was there watching my daughter hit a T-ball off a stand or whatever girls do, with the little T-ball, and my son playing soccer, both my sons, swimming carnivals. I was there all the time. I was probably the only dad really that was there all the time. And, like I made the joke before, most of the mums thought I was probably unemployed because I was there at every event. But my kids really appreciated that. I was there for them, and it was only property development that allowed me to do that. And then taking them on great holidays as well.
So you really don't have to choose between family and property development. It's learning how to manage it. It's definitely manageable. So many people do it. You can do it if it's something you're thinking about. Reach out to the team, have a chat. If you've got a family and you're concerned, or you're thinking, how would I even manage this? You're mad if you don't. That's what I say. What do you reckon?
I agree. Totally. Just reach out. We'll have a chat about it.
Well, I think we can wind this one up, Bob. Episode 223. I hope you got something useful. Oh, the book's going to Solomon. Craig. Yeah. Sorry, Solomon. I can't remember how to say your last name. It was a little bit difficult, but I do know that you'll have it because I'm pretty sure it got posted last week. Hope you enjoyed reading. Great to meet you when we're at the workshop, and hope to see you again soon. Well, everybody, I think we've done it. Thanks, Bob. Remember to subscribe, and I would love a review if you'd love to give us a great one. And if you've got any questions, feel free to email them in. We may even make a podcast out of it. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.